Hello, everybody. My name is Nathaniel Gomez, and my teammates for this project are Sai and Sathvika. This is the dashboard that we have. This is the project that we worked on. As you can tell, we titled the European Union's emissions trading system overview. And let me give you just a quick background on the data that you're looking at. This is data from the European Union Emissions Trading System, also called ETS. Now, what ETS is, it's a plan that the European Union put in place to help reduce greenhouse gases being emitted into the atmosphere and to really combat climate change. So the way it works is that a country in Europe is allowed to emit so much tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. If they go over, they will be fined by the European Union. Now, they can keep if they don't emit those that much CO2 into the atmosphere, then they can keep the amount that they were allocated and they can sell it to another country. So because of that, another country that might emit a lot of CO2, they can buy the CO2 passes from another country so that they do not get fined by the European Union. Now, let me talk about how we uploaded the data. We uploaded data to Tableau Prep Builder and we made sure that we had no missing values. The only values we had to change was year. We had to change it from date data to string data because when we first uploaded it, we had to upload it as date. And the trading periods were coming out as 1900. ETS began in 2005, so we obviously knew that that was an issue and that was an error, so we had to go back and we had to fix it. Here is the data that we have now that we fixed it, and here are the training periods. Now, the way it works is that this is now here are the CO2 emissions, and they're measured in tons of CO2. This from 2005 to 2007 was the first phase of ETS. The second phase of ETS was from 2008 to 2012, and the third phase was from 2013 to 2020. So these two phases represents the first 8 years, and this one represents the last 8 years. I mean, the next 8 years as well of the ETS system. So as you can see, they really lowered their emissions because we can safely assume that they have lowered their emissions because they're not trading as much. We really doubt that countries in Europe really want to pay the fine. So because they are trading less, we can safely assume that they are emitting less CO2 to the atmosphere. You can really see that from the second phase to the third phase, they really start taking it seriously because right here they emitted close to 79 billion tons of CO2, and the second phase they traded the most, which was close to 126 billion tons of CO2, and in the third phase they only traded 33 billion tons of CO2. So as you can tell, they really started taking it seriously.
Hello everyone. In today's presentation, I am going to explain about a data source and a sector analysis. Coming to data source, the data we'll be discussing comes from a source known as data source. So this source provides us with a valuable information, and it's important to note that the data is current as of update time. So this means that the information is up to date as of that specific date and time. Keep this in mind as we go through the data as it helps us understand the context and reliability of an information presented. Now let's dive into the detail and explore the insights provided by the data source. So these explanations gives us audience a quick understanding of where the data is coming from and how recent it is, setting the stage for the rest of our presentations. Now I'm going to explain a sector analysis. In this sector analysis, we have added main activity parameters and filters. Coming to parameters, by aligning the scatter plot with the main activity parameters, we gain understanding and how different sectors contribute to CO2 emissions in a primary activity. So these enables us to identify sectors where the emissions are tightly linked to certain key parameters. And coming to filters, to refine our analysis, we have strategically applied filters to focus on a specific criteria as shown here. So these filters may include like industry types according to our requirement. This ensures that our observations are aspects most relevant to our analysis goals. And coming to a detailed explanation of a sector analysis charts, this chart describes about the emissions of CO2 by an each sector. To gain this chart, we need to add columns and rows. So in rows we have added sectors, and in columns we have added total emissions traded of a CO2. And here we want to add sectors as a filter so that we can choose and see how much sector is emitting as we discussed earlier. And we added parameters to the chart so that we can change the chart of to our desired number of sectors like top 100, top 50, top 60, and according to our requirement. So here we took top 100 and representing the chart as of now. So we added the main activity sectors to the color section so that we can easily represent the industries that have traded carbon dioxide easily. And so that charts are represented by the colors in a sector wise. Also, we have added some of CO2 percentages to the label column so that we can directly see the percentages contribution of an each sector in a total emissions. And coming to a total detailing of an sector analysis. So the sector analysis of a CO2 emissions involves examining the various industry sectors contributing to carbon dioxide emissions and understanding their impact on the environment. So the goal is to identify the key sectors responsible for greenhouse emissions, access their current emissions levels, and explores opportunities for reducing emissions. Next will be continued by Varsha.
As Sathvika has discussed about the sector analysis and the data source, now I am going to discuss about the country comparison and the dashboard. In this country comparison chart, we can say that the Germany has the highest amount of carbon dioxide produced country in the European Union, and the next three top countries which produces the highest amount of carbon dioxide are Poland, Italy, and France. And more than 54% of the carbon dioxide is emitted from the top five countries in the European Union. So, and also the economy will be also developed more by these top five countries itself. So, it is like a vice versa process. As the amount of carbon dioxide increases, the economy will also increase. And here in this chart, we have also added a calculated field named as a top emitters. Here, if the sum of the amount of the carbon dioxide emitted is greater than 10 billion, then it is mentioned as a top emitter and the color is shown in an yellow color. So else the countries are shown in green color, which means they have a less amount of carbon dioxide production. So here you can easily differentiate the uh, countries with the help of colors. So here you can also mention see that if we want only the top emitter countries, by selecting the top emitter, we can easily get to know that which countries in the European Union have the highest amount of emission. And if we want only the lowest amount of emission countries, here you can easily classify them. And when it comes to the dashboard, that a dashboard in a Tableau file is a collection of visualizations. Here we have different types of collection of charts like bar chart, we have line chart, and we have a country graph chart. So here by selecting all countries, we can see that all the number of countries which we have in the European Union. So by this, but we have applied all the filters, all the parameters in the dashboard, so that this dashboard is a very powerful tool which also helps in data visualization and the business intelligence. So by seeing this we can easily came to conclusion that in which trading period the amount of carbon dioxide emission is high, or in which sector the amount of carbon dioxide is high, and in which country the amount of carbon dioxide is high. So we have taken these three parameters so that we can easily classify the amount of parameter is high in which country. And in conclusion, I want to say that it is the duty of the businesses in order to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide production by alternatingly using many other resources like renewable resources. Thank you.